The old war vet hurried through the streets of Mexico, eyes on the swivel as cartel gangsters close in on him from all angles. Eventually, he is surrounded by heavily armed thugs led by their boss. The old man just wants to find the girl, but he came to the wrong place. They cut him and beat him to an inch of his life, but made a huge mistake. They left him alive. In Bowie, Arizona, during a storm, rescuers are searching for missing hikers, but are having no luck. Meanwhile, expert tracker, John Rambo, braves the rains and stumbles upon one female hiker already dead. He finds two others stranded. The male is the husband of the dead hiker. John tells him she's gone, and they must escape the incoming flood, but the man ignores the warnings and goes looking for her. Rambo has no time to get the second hiker out as the flood bears down on them, so Rambo hurriedly secures his horse, then holds the hiker close as the waters crash down on them. Rambo and the hiker return safely to base, where he learns that the husband was found dead. The cops call him an expert tracker, but this man's no simple tracker. He's a U.S. Army vet who's left an entire generation of soldiers with severe trauma and PTSD. Rambo now lives a quiet life on his ranch, along with his helper Maria, helping her raise her granddaughter Gabriela, a ghost of the one-man army he once was. When he wants time alone, he escapes to the tunnels beneath his ranch where all his weapons and gear still sit after all those years. Losing the people in the storm seems to really take a toll on him, as it reminds him of losing his brothers in the war, but Maria reminds him he can't save everyone. The following day, he and Gabriela go for a ride on horseback. She is going away for college, but not sure what she wants to do with her life. John always knew he wanted to be a soldier, even before he could legally drink.
Yeah, I want to be a soldier.
Gabriela plans to head to hang out with some friends later, so John suggests she bring them to the ranch and show them the tunnels. He never lets anyone down there, but he'll make an exception for Gabriela's friends. That night, the friends come over to hang out and party in the tunnels. John and Maria observe from afar, Maria a bit jealous as John never let her in the tunnels. Gabriela gets a call from her friend Giselle with some very important information for her. After the party, Gabriela tells John she wants to go to Mexico. Turns out Giselle, who lives in Mexico, found Gabriela's estranged father Manuel living there. She feels the urge to see him, to hear why he abandoned her, but John tells her he's not a good man.
There's no reason for a man to throw his family away.
I have to do this.
Gabriela thinks John could be wrong, but John gets increasingly pissed off, warning that the world is not as nice as she thinks. Gabriela insists, asking John to trust that she's making a good decision. People like her father don't just change. He knows she wants answers, wants to see the world, but wants her to grow up some more and learn more about the world before she goes off on her own. Gabriela agrees. The next day, though, Gabriela insists on leaving, and Maria is pissed as she knows the type of man her father is.
Gabriela, I thought we had an understanding.
Es una mala muchacha, entiéndelo.
Cambió.
No.
He was not there when her mother was dying, never cared to be a father to Gabriela, unlike John, who has raised and cared for her for years. There was even a time John had to stop him from beating her mother, and with everything she knows, she refuses to let Gabriela leave the ranch.
Por favor. Ya.
Gabriela seemingly agrees, then tells them she's going to her friend's house. John watches her drive away, unaware this would change their peaceful lives forever. Instead of heading to her friend's house, Gabriela foolishly drives into Mexico and turns up to Giselle's house.
Hey, come here, man.
A few hours have passed, and John becomes worried when he doesn't see Gabriela return. Later, Giselle leads Gabriela to the apartment building she found her father living at. She finds the apartment and finally comes face to face with her father. She wonders why he left, but instead of the answer she is looking for, Manuel reveals she and her mother meant nothing to him. He never wanted Gabriela, and when her mother died, he saw it as a perfect opportunity to walk away.
Who I never wanted.
Gabriela breaks down in tears and storms back to the car wanting to go home, but Giselle convinces her it's too late and she's too upset to drive. Giselle ends up taking Gabriela to a club, and she immediately catches the attention of the guys inside with her innocent look. One man comes up over trying to chat her up, but his true intention is revealed when he slips a substance into her drink.
John! John!
The next day, Maria frantically tells John that Giselle called telling her that Gabriela went to see her father and never came back. Wasting no time, John sets out, promising that he will find Gabriela and bring her home. And from here on out, we're no longer dealing with John, we're dealing with Rambo. Gabriela finds herself held captive along with other girls by a powerful Mexican cartel led by the Martinez brothers. Victor Martinez returns with a girl that tried to run away, warning the others that if they try, he will find them and kill them brutally. Rambo arrives in Mexico that night and finds Manuel's apartment.
We're looking for Gabrielle.
He wants Gabriela's location and barges into Manuel's home. He swears he has no idea, and Rambo regrets not breaking his neck all those years ago, as he is why Gabriela is missing. He then finds Giselle, and though she swears she doesn't know much, Rambo insists on talking to her inside. Giselle tells him about Gabriela's visit to her dad, and that they went to get drinks after, but they got separated after Gabriela started talking to some guy. Rambo notices that her story changed. First she never came back from her father, now she's saying they went out for drinks. To make things worse, Rambo notices she is wearing Gabriela's gold bracelet and grabs her. He knows she sold Gabriela out, and when Giselle tries to deny it once more, Rambo plants a massive knife in front of her. She will take him to the club, or she will know pain. They get to the club. Giselle is getting cold feet, but Rambo doesn't care and demands she point out the man she saw talking to Gabriela. They head inside, where Giselle points out the man, so Rambo tells her to leave. He stands in a corner observing his target. Meanwhile, a woman sitting at the bar takes notice of him. The man starts to leave, so Rambo follows him out to the parking lot, and just before he can get into his car, Rambo ambushes him with a blade to his neck. He shows the picture of Gabriela. The man responds that he doesn't know the bitch, so Rambo breaks his collarbone and stabs him in the leg. Rambo starts breaking his collarbone with his bare hand, so the man concedes and agrees to take him to Gabriela. The same woman from inside the club sees all this go down, and when Rambo drives away, she follows the truck. The injured man leads Rambo to the location where Gabriela is being held, so Rambo knocks him out. From a distance, he notices Victor and some gangsters hanging out inside, and soon Victor's older brother Hugo also arrives there. Meanwhile inside, some dirty cops are allowed to have their way with the captive girls. As Rambo is observing, he soon notices a man watching him. He tries to leave, but the men are everywhere, and soon Rambo finds himself surrounded by a small army of gangsters with Hugo and Victor leading them. They demand to know what he wants, but Rambo refuses to speak. In his wallet, they find a photo of Gabriela, and Victor calls her a hoe. Rambo lounges at him, but the men all hold him at gunpoint. He still refuses to give them any information, so Victor cuts him across the face before all the men brutally beat on him. Rambo painfully tells them to let Gabriela go, but Hugo plainly tells him these girls are just goods for him to make money. But because of Rambo's actions, he will ensure he makes an example of Gabriela. He will let Rambo live, just so he can suffer with the thought of losing Gabriela, unaware he's making a fatal mistake. Victor then cuts Rambo deep in the face and leaves him there. Luckily, the woman from the bar who had been close by rushes over to help him. Victor is pissed as he never wanted Rambo left alive, so he wants to be the one to hurt Gabriela. He has a man drag her from her cell, then shows her Rambo's ID, demanding to know who he is to her. Gabriela doesn't say, but it doesn't matter. He left Rambo for dead, so he injects her with a drug before brutally carving into her face with a blade. Rambo has survived, and the woman, Carmen, has a doctor look him over. While Rambo recovers, Gabriela is constantly drugged and violated by numerous men. A few days later, Carmen returns to see Rambo fully dressed. He wonders why she would help him, but she would do it for anyone in need. She turns out to be a journalist who had been following Flaco, the gangster Rambo attacked at the club. He works for the Martinez brothers, who also took Carmen's sister. John has no time to waste. He wants their location. Carmen thinks he would be crazy to take on that many men, but she doesn't know who she is talking to. But the thought of Gabriela scared and alone outweighs the risk, and he wants her help. Rambo gets the location of a motel running girls and turns up there pretending to be interested. Once the men allow him in, Rambo launches his attack with a hammer. But the girls there are too scared to escape. Inside one of the rooms, he finds a drugged and scarred Gabriela and takes her back to his truck. Hugo and Victor find out what went down and Victor is pissed. He knows Hugo should have killed the old man when he had the chance, warning him to listen more often. Rambo is on his way back home with a sick and weakened Gabriela, promising to get her back home and returning the bracelet Giselle took from her. She is weak, so Rambo starts talking to her to keep her from falling asleep. He reminds her of her younger years, the fun they had together, and the plans she has for her future. Despite this, Gabriela dies right there beside him.
Thank you. You like this real? No, don't.
Rambo breaks down, wondering why he couldn't take her place. He gets back to the ranch the next day. Maria comes out, but he stops her from approaching the car and breaks the news to her. Rambo buries Gabriela soon after, then sends Maria to stay with her sister. She wonders if she will ever see him again, and Rambo promises he will.
Voy a estar triste hasta que me muera.
Once she leaves, he starts to prepare for an assault. He has a plan to draw the men onto his playing field, so drawing on his Green Beret training, he starts to booby-trap the mines and a barn nearby, turning the tunnels and his ranch into a battlefield fit to take on an army. He goes back over into Mexico to see Carmen, as he needs her help. He wants to find Victor, the one that cut him, but Carmen is scared to help him. She believes it will change nothing, but Rambo believes that nothing will change if everyone just sits aside and allows them to continue. He wants blood. He wants them to feel the pain they've inflicted on others, and he knows Carmen wants it too. She decides to help him. Rambo finds Victor's location once more, then starts taking out the men there with his blades, every strike carrying his rage. He then comes upon Victor. The next day, the location is swarming with cops and cartel gangsters. Hugo arrives there only to find Victor's headless body with Gabriela's picture stuck to him with a blade, while Rambo leaves his head in the middle of the highway. Hugo has no choice but to take the bait as he cannot allow his brother's death to go unavenged. He assembles a small army, then starts heading to Rambo's ranch in a convoy, but this is exactly what Rambo has been waiting for. The next day Rambo spends a few minutes at Gabriela's grave when he spots the convoy racing onto his ranch. The first truck triggers an explosive and gets blown to bits. So Hugo and the team push the barn on foot. One man bursts into the house and takes an arrow to the throat. Rambo then opens fire from the tunnel, drawing the others' attention. The men who get to the barn trigger a gasoline spray, which Rambo ignites with a gunshot before taking them out. Hugo and the survivors push into the tunnels, moving cautiously with their guns at the ready. One man triggers a trap and gets a pitchfork through the chest before Rambo takes his head off with a shotgun. One man rushes toward the sound and gets his face taken off with a blast. Rambo continues moving through the tunnels, brutally taking out the unsuspecting men who still can't get eyes on him. Hugo radios for his men to give him a report, but is only greeted by the bodies and screams of his men. Rambo actually comes upon Hugo, but realizing it's him, he decides to save him for last. After a few minutes in the tunnel, the men are running wild, unsure of every step they take. Rambo causes a part of the tunnel to collapse onto some gangsters, but takes a bullet to the stomach in the process. This doesn't stop him, and he reveals himself to Hugo just so he can chase after him. Rambo ends up taking another round to the shoulder, but gets to the generator and shuts off the lights inside the tunnel. He radios to Hugo telling him he is all alone and had many chances to kill him but wanted him for last. He plans to rip out Hugo's heart just like he did to him taking Gabriela away. He has rigged the tunnels to blow and turns on the lights leading to the exit, telling Hugo to follow them if he wants to live. Hugo barely manages to avoid the intense explosion coming to the surface inside a barn. He readies his gun and prepares to move when Rambo shoots him with arrows, pinning him to the barn walls by his limbs. Injured and out of breath, Rambo walks down on him, removing a massive knife from its holster. He then plunges the blade into Hugo's chest, cuts it open and rips his heart out, ensuring he sees it before he dies. Rambo stumbles from the Baron, collapsing in a chair on his home porch. He looks over his life and the people he's lost, and vows to continue fighting to keep their memories alive. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment, and of course, subscribe for more recaps just like this. And hey, don't click away just yet. YouTube thinks you'll love one of these 2 videos popping up right here, so check them out next.